Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Coffee and Headlines, our daily get-together live on Facebook every day at 10:30, where we take a look at headline stories, suggestions, ideas, tips on how to have a great life as English-speaking folks here in Puerto Vallarta. It is always great to see familiar faces joining us every day from the city and also from other parts of the world. It's great to see that a lot of people may not necessarily be here in Puerto Vallarta during the summer months, but it is also wonderful to be able to create a connection between Puerto Vallarta and folks that are elsewhere. And I see people here that are watching from Calgary, from Tijuana, from San Diego, from Santa Cruz, from South Boston, from Yakima. Linda, I don't know exactly how to pronounce your city, but it's not nearby. So you feel like you're right around the corner, and that's the beautiful thing about doing this kind of activity. If you are new to these broadcasts, my name is Paco, and we would love it if you would type the word new in your comments so that we can give you a proper welcome. And of course, we're going to go through our formal news. On every Monday, we first look at the numbers, the COVID numbers released by our governor yesterday, and we compare them with the week before, and we see exactly what that means. Then we look at some other news and stick till the very end of today because we are going to share the most spectacular way in which a disgruntled customer of a local convenience store, and I say local because this happened in the state of Nayarit, so it's local enough. They didn't let him into the store because he was not wearing a face mask, and he left in a huff and in retaliation decided to slam his SUV into the storefront. Talk about a Ken or a John or the male comparison of Karen. I forget what it is, but as you know, here in Mexico, we don't call them people's names, we call them lords and ladies. So we're going to meet Lord Oxo at the end of today's broadcast. And we're going to share a couple of other leisure news so that we can start our week. Let me take a quick look at who's here. Paul's in the house, Linda's in the house, Karen, Mary, Craig, Lisa, great friends as always. No specific questions. And of course, Omelettes and Headlines, says Logan. Logan got me hooked on a great series on television, which is called The Umbrella Academy. And I watched a couple of episodes last night, and I think I'm going to go back to it as soon as I have a free moment today. Thank you very much. Let me remind everybody that if you have a specific question that you would like to have addressed during the broadcast, please write the letter Q before your question so that we can get to it either during the broadcast or immediately afterwards. For starters, let us take a quick look at the governor's numbers. So let us actually, before we do that, let me throw this. We're going to do something completely new today, which is I'm going to ask you a question. I've never used the questions feature in Facebook Live. So I'm going to use it today because I hope we can inspire some folks here in the community through your answers. Early on in the pandemic, I remember posting something on my personal Facebook page to the effect of, with all this time that we have in our hands, being stuck at home, if we don't learn something new, something wonderful, something exciting, something inspiring during the pandemic, we won't be able to say afterwards that it was because we lacked time. What we lacked was discipline. And I felt strongly about that, and I continue to feel strongly about that. I think I remember I had a week and a half early on in the pandemic when I was just lost. I went into this like doomsday scenario slump. I could barely get out of bed. But I can tell you right now that I've learned a lot of things. But I see that there are a number of people in our community that continue to be idle and unable to move forward through the pandemic. So we're going to try this. I'm going to pose a question, which I believe I just did. And I want to ask you, what awesome thing have you learned since the pandemic started? And I'm hoping you will take a couple of minutes to just answer short paragraph or short statement as to something new and wonderful that you've given yourself the opportunity to learn um, while stuck at home, while unable to go forward through your own routine. And I see that the first answer has come in, and it's a wonderful answer. And what I'd like to do is later on in the program, I am going to um, display the card. In fact, let me try this now. Simon just said that he learned Spanish, and I think that is wonderful. So, if you are willing to share some responses, I am hoping that through these responses, we will be able to empower and inspire other people. Oh my God, all these answers that are coming in, we'll definitely take a look at those. But as I promised, I know you want to know what the latest numbers are from the governor. So let's just dive into that with the news. And it starts like this. Bam. Okay, as in every Monday, Governor Enrique Alfaro releases his latest numbers for COVID 19 on Sunday afternoon, and we've gathered them. We start with his message to the population of the state, and I'm translating this as we go. And he says, thanks to the effort of everybody, we have been able to avoid the emergency button another week. But not only that, we lowered the level of hospital occupation thanks to the large number of applied tests that allow us to detect new cases on time, to address them properly and avoid them to become serious and prevent them from becoming serious cases. Along the same lines, and thanks to the work of all our medical staff, we keep one of the lowest morbidity rates in the whole country. We're doing great. We're not going to get relaxed. The number of cases the number of weekly new cases continues to be below the level, and the only way we can avoid that we crossing the barrier of 400 cases is by taking our individual responsibility seriously. It is up to us. Do not leave your home if it is not strictly necessary. If you do, wear a face mask at all times. We all know what we have to do. We cannot fail. So the governor's message is nothing new. It's the same message that we already know. And it's an important message, and I'll tell you why in a little bit. I'll allow myself to share commentary about this in a second. But first, let's take a look at the actual numbers. Governor Alfaro shows that there are 749 beds, hospital beds in use out of a maximum, well, not a maximum, out of a 1,369 number, which would be the 50% of the total number of hospital beds. But the governor would press the so-called emergency button if we reached that number, if we reached 1,369. And of course, we have the number of cases per million, and that is 332 out of a possible 400 that would lead us to press the emergency button. What do these numbers look like when we compare them to last week's numbers? Well, we can see that the number of hospital beds, number of people in hospital beds, indeed decreased from 29.1% to 27.4%. It went from 796 beds to 749, but the number of weekly new cases went on the rise from 309.4 to 332. So we see more active cases going on in our state. And this is, of course, something to be concerned about. As long as we continue to be close to that 400 cases, we continue to be under the threat of the possibility that the emergency button will be pushed. This week, Governor Alfaro also shared these other um, charts, which help us get a good appreciation as to where we are as we relate to other states in the country. When we take a look at the number of active cases for every 100,000 inhabitants, Jalisco is way over here. We see that Baja California Sur is is the state with a serious amount of cases right now. It has spiked tremendously, followed by the state of Yucatan. I remember when Ciudad de Mexico, Mexico City, used to be really really high in the number of active cases. If we look at it, at the accumulation of cases that we've had since the beginning of the pandemic per every 100,000 inhabitants, we see that Jalisco continues to be on the lowest side of this chart. Right now, it's the state of Tabasco that is on the highest number. And last but not least, we see that the morbidity rate in Jalisco continues to be among the lowest in the country, with 20.86 deaths for every 100,000 inhabitants. Mexico City is at the highest number right now. I see some questions. I see some questions that pop up right now. So let me take a quick look. And as always, you always have interesting responses to the numbers. Let me take a quick look. Oh, we get notes from Claudia from El Arrayan. It was so great to see you. Nos dio mucho gusto verlas. It was a wonderful dinner. I will never forget it. As I was leaving El Arrayan, I gave myself some time to put my hand against the Arrayan tree that is in the middle of the restaurant courtyard. I remember when the tree was a twig and its main trunk fit around my fingers, and now the main trunk is this big thing and the tree is humongous, and it was just wonderful. Let me take a quick look. Boom, boom, bum, 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 bum. Doo-dee-doo-dee-doo. I see a lot of comments on things that you've done while you've been staying at home. This is really wonderful. A question: does anybody know if the Trepiati is open for delivery and takeout? I personally don't, Mark, but I am sure that if you visit their Facebook page and send them a little note, I am sure they will be eager to reply. Lisa asks, you referenced a site during the Oopsie episode highlighting the U.S. recommendations on safety during travel. Do you mind to share that link when you have time? Actually, Lisa, welcome to the show. Let me explain. What happens is if you go back to the broadcast that you're referring to, you will see that there are show notes directly under it. And those show notes are all the links that we mention during the broadcast so that you can reference them at your own leisure. So you can either go to the Facebook broadcast on this Facebook page where you're probably watching. You can go to the YouTube address that is referenced after every broadcast, and you can find that link there. Or you can go to the website paco-ojeda.com and you can take care of yourself without a problem. All the show notes are published to all those three locations. Boom, 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 bam, 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 bam. Okay, no more questions, so let me move on with the news. In case you were wondering, La Jornada publishes that there are 7 states in Mexico where the COVID numbers are decreasing. They are the states of Aguascalientes, Campeche, Nuevo León, or New Lion, as we were mentioning yesterday, Querétaro, Quintana Roo, Tamaulipas, and Veracruz. These are states that at least presently are managing to decrease the number of cases that they have. Let us hope that trend continues to be the same trend for those states, and let us hope that other states in Mexico and many places around the world continue to show a decreased number of cases. Um, Excelsior in Mexico City writes a very comprehensive article on how the pandemic has unfortunately accelerated the rate at which the printed press is becoming less useful, profitable, or pursued. Um, for many reasons, from not being able to deliver newspapers to points of sale and many other things. But this article talks about how we are headed into a 100% digital future. For those of us that enjoy holding a book in our hands and holding a newspaper or a magazine in our hands, this is, of course, troublesome. But according to the article, um, a newspaper is becoming a niche, catering to a niche audience. This is all very, very, very sad, but this is yet another way in which our world is transforming itself. Meanwhile, El Universal publishes a similar article reporting on how COVID has put, the headline is wonderful because it says COVID has put bars under intensive care. And this relates to the fact that the entertainment industry and nightlife and bars are facing the most uncertain time throughout the entire country and probably many places in the world. The article gives examples of what is happening in cities like La Paz in Baja California, where their malecon is completely abandoned. Then there are some other mentions of cities elsewhere through the country, cities in Zacatecas, et cetera, Guadalajara, so forth and so on. It mentions how the only way certain bars have been able to operate is by offering food. So this is, of course, a challenging issue for anybody that works in this industry. And then, of course, we find out through Vallarta Opina how bars and nightlife businesses are reopening in Puerto Vallarta with 30 to 40% capacity and having to close precisely at 2 o'clock in the morning. The article goes on to mention what's going on in some of the venues along the Malecon, and I can see that this is a different and challenging recovery for many. But life has to go on. I mean, businesses need to continue to open, and they will. Bars need to continue to open as much as we want to cringe, and cruise ships and airlines and all this life that we know part of our normal activities. We need to move forward, and this is precisely why I find these COVID-19 reports that we do every Monday interesting, because as times go by, they start to feel more and more like weather forecasts. You know what I mean? And I think moving forward, talking about COVID will continue to feel mundane and more mundane as we go by. And we'll just look at the numbers, and we will continue with our lives, determining what risk levels are appropriate for us and taking care of our own personal responsibility through the face masks and so forth and so on. And this is why I thought it would be interesting to see what can we balance against the pandemic. How can we compensate the things that we lack or we don't have access to anymore with new and exciting things we could be learning or doing during these times. But back to the specific issue about bars, I don't want to end this section without giving a huge shout out to our friends from oh my God, I'm having a dizzy moment. Apaches. Thank you. Sorry, Geoff. I want to talk about Apaches for a second, because Geoff and Ricardo, who are always watching Coffee and Headlines and are very much a part of our community, they are not watching today, because I know that today is the first day that they reopen. This is Apaches on Olas Altas Street. It's a very popular bar. They chose to wait. They chose not to go through the food route. They chose to patiently wait until the moment of being able to open as a bar, which is what they are. And now they're opening today. They've gone through the whole reglamentos rigmarole. They've distanced their tables and whatnot. They are worthy of your appreciation and maybe stop by and having a drink, because I know as I've been personal witness of the fact that they're struggling and they're going through every step to make sure that the experience at Apaches is a safe and comforting one. So if you have a second to go and have a cocktail with them, with Ricardo and Geoff, or Jeff, as you all want to call him, he will always be Geoff to me, for better or worse. We wish them much luck. We wish them the best, and anybody that is in the process of reopening, we wish you much success as you're moving forward. Um, and yes, it's okay with me to say a senior moment too. I have them all the time now, Tony. So before we move on, let me take a quick look at your comments into just to see if there are any questions that are worth addressing. There are a lot of comments about things that you are learning, and this is just wonderful um, because it's so important to give ourselves time to stay nurtured and to feed our minds and feed our souls. I love this. Kathleen has learned singing, watching master classes online. Good for you. Spiritual intuitive classes with Kennedy Morgan. That's great. Um, Morning drinking can be very interesting. I love that. I totally love that. And Zoe, I got your message the other day. I was going to wait until Tuesday or Wednesday to mention it, but yes, of course. Zoe Lewis is back with her social distancers. I know that Zoe posted the other day that she was really happy because she was able to participate on a live show, an actual performance in Provincetown. So, yes, Zoe, we will be tuning in, and I will be reminding everybody. And oh boy, do I miss you. I miss you, you and the cigarette girl. Hopefully you'll be able to come back to Puerto Vallarta soon so we can enjoy your wonderful music and storytelling in person, which is the best way to enjoy it. But Zoe has gotten very, very entertaining when she does her live shows. Not a single show is the same as the previous one, and they are all absolutely wonderful. Um, and look at this. You have some fans that are going to be heading in your direction. I hope you guys can connect. Um, Jules asked for recommendations for things to do in Tequila. I have never been to Tequila. It's on my bucket list, but I understand that the main plaza is just adorable and that there's a lot of cute places to explore. There's, of course, tequila tours to some of the large distilleries. I would actually take the opportunity to enjoy one of those if you've never been inside a real distillery, as opposed to some of the tequila tour experiences that you get in Puerto Vallarta, where they bring you into a venue and you just sip from five little shots to feel good about yourself. In these are the real distilleries. This is where the beverages are made. So it's fascinating to go into these larger factories. So I hope you get a chance to do that if you're there. Um, I did not miss roll call, Michal. We did a little bit of that at the beginning. More praise for Geoff and Ricardo. So, yes, we will absolutely stop by and have a cocktail. We'll definitely do that. Um, and we love to support restaurants, Jules, because it's so funny because one of the things that I love about living in Puerto Vallarta is that eating out is a sport. And, one of the things I must say about having gone to El Arrayan the other night is that it felt like the good old days. You know, when you could just go into a restaurant and surround yourself with people you enjoy, and you walk across to the table on the other side of the restaurant to greet people that you haven't seen in a while. And it just felt, I hate to say this, but it felt like the good old days. Um, so will we ever come back to the good old days in which we could have that kind of intimacy in a restaurant? I don't know. But in the meantime, it is a pleasure to be able to support local restaurants and venues like that as much as one can. That is, as much as our budget and our risk factor allows. Um, Zoe, Zoe, we miss you, we miss you, we miss you. Zoe has a live show this summer on August 27th. I imagine this is going to be in Provincetown, so I certainly hope that folks are going to be able to enjoy that. I wish I could. I haven't been in Provincetown since I left the United States almost 20 years ago. And part of me would love to see it. Part of me would feel just a little sad because I'm sure it's changed a lot. Okay, so let me switch over to the leisurely part, and I will take a quick look before we do that as to how many answers you have. Oh my goodness, I see a bunch of answers here, which is really wonderful. In fact, let me take a look at those right now. Um, can I do that? Um, oh no, I don't even know how to do that, but maybe I can read them for you. Uh, huh. Let's see. Oh, I thought I would be able to click on these answers and tell them for you and show them to you on the screen. I thought I was able to do that before. Anyhow, Keith Bainan learned how to cook. Michael Morales installed a drip system. Lisa Efting has been doing meditation and swimming. Ralph De Palma is learning how to make pottery and trying to learn Spanish. Good for you. Randall Scott is learning free fingerstyle guitar. Michael Evans is communicating with real friends, or at least that's what I think it says. I think that's awesome. Lisa Buckley is learning Mexican cooking. Again, the beautiful thing about this, my friends, is that um, it's entirely up to us to make the best out of what's going on around us, and it's entirely up to us to find a way in which we can actually become better people. And with that in mind, let us take a look at the leisurely stuff, starting with the weather. It's 27 degrees again. It's feels like 30 degrees Fahrenheit. It's 81. We have an 81% humidity right now. It's not as humid as before. I'm sure that all the rain that we welcomed last night had something to do with it. And oh, funny. Carrot Weather says I have drowned more meat bags than any sentient weather generator has ever dreamed of. Well, good for you, Carrot Weather. I think that's absolutely awesome. I didn't mean to do that. What I meant to do is hold on just a second. I lost my weather. Why did I lose my weather? Oh no, there it is. What I want to show you is that the weather forecast for today tells us that we're going to get light rain in the morning today, and then tomorrow rain in the evening and overnight, and then on Wednesday rain until morning, starting again in the evening. There's a reason for all of this, of course. If we take a look at this news item, which tells us that we are enjoying the benefits of Tropical Storm Elida, which is the fifth cyclone in this season. It is, hanging out, sauntering up and down, well, from down to up through the coast of the Pacific coast of Mexico. It started yesterday south of us in Michoacan, and it's heading north. So we can expect to see a fair amount of rain and weather during the next few days. We also learn that the new handicap accessible stairs at the Quale are finally ready. I haven't had a chance to walk down that path or in that neighborhood to see them by myself, but I'm hoping that sometime this week, maybe on the same day that I stop by Apaches for a cocktail, I walk over to have a look. But according to this photograph, which was published by Noticias PB, they look ready and they seem to be open. So if anybody has seen them or anybody has walked about, I just think it's wonderful to see. This, of course, will help our handicapped friends or wheelchair mobility challenged friends. It will help them get up and down into the Quale area and explore what's available there. This is great. Oh, Eric Allen chimes in. The new ramp is great, so I imagine that it is open to the public. So let us move on. I don't think I ever brought up the friendly bear in the broadcast. The friendly bear is this young cub that was spotted near Monterrey, the city where I was born. There is a park there called Chipinque. And there was this young cub that was completely friendly. I mean, he would get close to people, and people would get close to him, and the friendly bear was making headlines all over the place. Well, now there's a kerfuffle because he was of course taken away for inspection to make sure that his health was good, etc., etc. And what the authorities in Monterrey determined is, well, this bear has an erratic behavior. We should transfer him over to a forest in Chihuahua. But because we are going to transfer the bear to a place where there are other types of bears, we don't want him to contaminate the through the breeding, so we're going to castrate the bear. And that didn't go very well with other environmental authorities that said, well, if this bear is of a species that is existing in other forests in Mexico, why did he have to be castrated? Why was he not taken to be around bears of his same species? So this is being investigated by the government right now. So you may or may not have known about the friendly bear. I kept seeing photographs over the past week or so of people just hanging out with a bear. It was the most curious thing. Over the past couple of days, we've talked about the big snafus going on with visitmexico.com, the official tourism website for the country. And things are just getting uglier and uglier because now the tourism secretary is making serious demands against this country's attorney, the general attorney of the country, about the fact that there was this dispute between different providers, and this has damaged the country's reputation. And of course, it's damaging the way people can access information about our cities, our country's tourism related opportunities. So this is not going to go away soon. Right now, of course, everybody's upset because if you visit visitmexico.com, it just says, the new website is coming soon. Apparently, Mexican government got in touch with Network Solutions, which is where the website is hosted, to try to get access to the website. And of course, we know that Network Solutions or any internet service provider will only give the keys to the website to the rightful owner, and the rightful owner is the issue of this dispute. Hopefully, the visitmexico.com website will come back to operate soon so that they can continue promoting our country as they should. The latest episode of Beyond the Canvas in PBS NewsHour deals with storytellers and performers using their art to heal and empower. Interviewees include Gloria Estefan and Emilio Estefan, Casey Musgraves, Adrienne Seymour, and Joan Baez. So this should be a fun watch for anybody that is interested in watching this. I find that this series is very nurturing. I totally recommend it. I also found out that I have something in common with Randy Rainbow, who apparently has a thing for Chris Cuomo, like apparently I do. In his latest video, Randy Rainbow declares himself a Cuomo-sexual and sings a serenade song for Chris Cuomo on his 50th birthday. It's really cute. You may want to watch it. And before we go into our spectacular disgruntled customer versus OXO, let me take a quick look at your last minute questions just to see what you have. Boom, bidding, beam, boom. Hey, Ron, it's nice to see you in Virginia. Thank you very much. Terry says, a challenge to push a wheelchair up, but at least it's an option. I'm going to take a look at it. Oh, Tomas Pollito Flannery says that it appeared to be open yesterday. That's wonderful. And Linda has the right attitude. It's better than nothing. This is absolutely wonderful. So much for the governor's COVID numbers. I don't know what that is about, John, but I hope it's positive and nurturing. Paco, while you were scrolling down about tourism, did I see a segment on the side that AMLO wants to eliminate fideicomiso? AMLO has been trying to eliminate fideicomisos in Mexico for quite a few months. All kinds of fideicomisos, and that's a big question that I'm happy to answer at another time. The way fideicomisos are set in Mexico, there are apparently financial issues with them. I'm not completely um, well versed in the subject matter, but I know that that movie making fideicomisos, culture fideicomisos, there's all kinds of fideicomisos in Mexico that the current government is trying to eliminate. Indeed, um, let us take a look at this news item I've been talking about because it's absolutely crazy that this man, whose name was Eliodoro, had he and his red van decided to he went into this OXXO. Look at that. He went into this OXXO and they didn't let him in because he did not have a face mask on. So he left the store. He hopped on his car. This is in a town called San Cayetano, which is in the municipality of Jalisco, Nayarit. He took his car and rammed it against the store. And let me just show you how this went. I believe I can play this. Ouch. Did you catch that? I mean, and of course, the lady that was recording it yells, "No mames!" Which "no mames" is not dinner table expression. It's kind of like saying "Holy fuck." Um, so we don't know exactly what's going to happen to Eliodoro. But if you find yourself being so freaking angry that you want to slam your vehicle against a storefront, I have to say that you are not going to be an original because Eliodoro has already done that in the state of Nayarit. And yes, Renee calls that quarantine rage. And unfortunately, we see a lot of it. Unfortunately, we do see a lot of it. So, you know, we know what we need to do, community. We need to find ways in which we can nurture our lives to be able to counteract. Having rage about all this uncertainty, I believe it's normal. Having uncertainty, having fear, having frustration, feeling tired, feeling burdened, we're all feeling that way. And the only way I think in which we can counterbalance that is by nurturing ourselves with useful things to do. And this is why I was asking earlier that you kindly share your positive experiences with COVID 19. And I hope you will consider to share those with your friends and with others and inspire people in your circles to try new things and reach out, connect with people, engage. And this is something that I very much appreciated of this community, that you join us and I join you every morning, and there's a lot of engagement, there's a lot of conversation, there's a lot of good thoughts and good feelings and good intentions, and I'm so grateful for that. In fact, I'm so grateful for that this is going to be a good place to end this adventure this morning. um, Let me, as always, thank you for your company, for your great ideas, for your great suggestions. um, um, Oh, Kathleen from Licks, she has been praising Mad Men, and Mad Men is an amazing HBO series. I watched the preview for the series last night, and I think I'm going to be hooked on that very easily. So maybe this month I'll get myself 1 month's worth of HBO so that I can binge on that. But right now I'm going to be quite busy with the Umbrella Academy. Thanks to Logan, I always welcome your suggestions, and I always welcome your comments. And as always, I wish you a great day, a great beginning of the week. Stop by Apaches and have a cocktail if you can. Stay happy, stay friendly, stay kind, and stay in touch. And hopefully, I will see you soon. Have a great day.